Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. This time we're going to get into personal finance,
Oh, yeah.
which I think is on a lot of people's minds right now.
It is. Yeah.
We've got kind of a mix of sources for this one. We've got some expert advice on mortgages, and then some really interesting takes on how friendships
Okay.
can actually affect your spending habits, and
Interest.
even a piece on questioning wedding
Oh,
expectations.
wow.
So get ready to maybe uncover some hidden costs, learn how to navigate some of these tricky financial waters,
Yeah.
and maybe even challenge some of your own assumptions about money.
Yeah, it's fascinating how all of these things kind of tie together, right? Like whether it's, getting a mortgage or going out for drinks with friends or even, that big wedding celebration,
Right.
all of it comes back to making choices that affect our financial well-being.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so let's kind of unpack this a little bit, starting with home buying.
Okay.
You know, it's peak season right
It
now.
is.
And one expert really stresses the importance of your credit score. It's
Yes.
not even just about getting approved for a mortgage, but
Right.
what interest rate you're offered, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, your credit score is it's like a secret password that unlocks better loan terms.
Okay.
Think about it this way. A few points difference in your score could mean tens of thousands of dollars,
Wow.
more in interest over the life of your loan. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's a huge difference. And that makes you wonder how many people are kind of out there house hunting without even knowing what their credit score is.
Yeah, it's more common than you might think. And, it's such a shame because there are so many free tools available online
Right.
to track it and understand your score. And, you can't improve what you don't measure.
That's so true. So, okay, once you know your score, what are
Yeah.
the key steps to keep it healthy and maybe even boost it?
Yeah, consistency is key. So making on-time payments for all your bills, not just your credit cards, is really important.
Okay.
And this might surprise some people, but contrary to popular belief, closing old credit accounts can actually hurt your score.
Really?
Yeah, lenders like to see a long history of responsible credit management.
So holding on to that old credit card from college might actually be a good thing, even if you don't really use it that much.
Exactly. It demonstrates a longer credit history, which can really work in your favor.
Okay, got it.
Another tip, especially if you're thinking about buying a house soon, is to avoid making any large purchases.
Okay, so
Right.
like a brand new car or
Yeah,
fancy furniture for your not yet purchased home.
right. A sudden surge in your debt-to-income ratio can raise red flags for lenders. They want to see a stable financial picture.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And speaking of stability, I remember reading about
Yeah.
your own experience with kind of those hidden costs
Uh-huh.
of homeownership. And you had a bit of a surprise shortly after you bought your home.
Oh, yes. My air conditioner decided to give out in the middle of summer.
Oh, no.
$9,000 later, I was definitely feeling the sting of unexpected home repairs.
Yeah, that's a great reminder that it's not just about the mortgage payment itself,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
There's property taxes, insurance, all that maintenance,
Yes.
and these inevitable repairs that can kind of pop up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Is there a way to even estimate those costs beforehand?
Definitely. I think online affordability calculators are a great place to start. They help you factor in all those potential expenses, and you can see a more realistic picture of what you can truly afford. Sometimes that dream home, might have to wait until you're in a stronger financial position.
Right, and kind
Yeah.
of just unexpected expenses can pop up with a house.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes our relationships can require those unexpected emotional investments.
That's true.
Which brings us for our next topic, friendships. One source really made me think about the idea of reciprocal effort in those relationships.
Yeah, what's really interesting about this source is that it frames one-sided friendships as a form of loneliness. Like you might technically have someone in your life, but if they're not really there for you,
Right.
it can be really emotionally draining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like you're constantly giving but not getting anything back.
Right.
And that can kind of leave you feeling depleted. Like you're
Exactly.
pouring from an empty cup.
Yeah, it really goes back to recognizing your own worth and setting healthy boundaries.
Okay.
Just like we budget our money, we need to budget our emotional energy.
Oh, I like that. Emotional budget. Okay.
Yeah.
So how do we actually apply that to our friendships? How do we budget that emotional energy?
Well, I think it starts with being mindful of how you feel in your interactions. Like, are you always the one initiating contact?
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel heard and supported?
Yeah.
If not, it might be time to have an honest conversation or even, kind of reevaluate that friendship.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just reevaluating our friendships, sometimes we need to reevaluate our spending habits.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially with inflation kind of looming large right now.
Yeah.
Our next source dug into some recent data showing a pretty concerning rise in food prices, especially when it comes to groceries.
Yeah, and this is where it gets really interesting because, people are expressing concern about the economy,
Right.
but they're still spending,
Okay.
but the way they're spending is shifting.
They're kind of like adapting. They're trying to make their dollars stretch further.
Exactly. We're seeing more people using coupons, shopping at discount stores,
Okay.
even changing their cooking habits to use less expensive ingredients.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So, with all of these changes in how we shop for groceries,
Uh-huh.
are those traditional spending patterns still like a good way to tell if consumers are doing okay?
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I think we need to kind of look beyond just the grocery bill.
Okay.
Like, are people cutting back on entertainment? Are they delaying big purchases?
Yeah.
These might be more telling signs of how people are feeling about the economy.
So it's kind of like looking at the bigger picture,
Exactly.
not just like one piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And speaking of the bigger picture,
Yeah.
our sources also highlighted this kind of rising sense of job insecurity. Like people are worried about their jobs, but
Yeah.
unemployment's still relatively low, right?
That's true, but there's this uncertainty in the air.
Right.
Companies are laying off workers, and even those who feel secure in their jobs are starting to think about, like, what they would do if things changed.
Okay, so this job insecurity, could that be a factor in how people are approaching their finances right now?
Absolutely. It makes sense that people would be more cautious with their spending
Right.
if they're worried about their job.
Okay. So what's your advice for like navigating this tricky landscape?
Yeah.
We've got inflation, this economic uncertainty.
Right.
Like how can people make smart choices with their money right now?
Well, I think my advice is to be proactive.
Okay.
Take a look at your budget, see where you can cut back on things that aren't essential.
Okay.
Maybe hold off on that big vacation
Yeah.
or that, new gadget you've been wanting.
So prioritize the needs over the wants for now.
Exactly. And when you do make purchases, be strategic.
Okay.
Shop around for the best deals. Consider buying used instead of new.
Yeah.
Really think about whether you need that item.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about making your money work for you.
That's great advice. It's about being really intentional with our spending.
Yeah,
Kind of just like we were talking about being intentional with our friendship.
exactly.
And speaking of being intentional,
Yes.
our final source took on a topic that, often comes with a lot of spending and a lot of expectations. Weddings.
This source made a really bold statement that I love.
Okay.
Your wedding is a party, not an accomplishment.
Oh, I love that.
It's a good one, right?
Yeah.
It kind of shifts the focus away from the grandeur and the expense and back to the celebration of love and commitment.
Right. It shouldn't be a financial burden for the couple or even the wedding party.
Exactly. And that goes for everything, the venue, the catering, the guest list, those pre-wedding events.
Yeah.
It's all about setting realistic expectations and focusing on what truly matters.
So maybe skip that destination bachelor or bachelorette party.
Right. Maybe a weekend camping trip with your closest friends would be just as memorable
I love that.
and a lot easier on everyone's wallets.
Absolutely. It's about creating those meaningful experiences without breaking the bank.
Exactly.
And at the end of the day, isn't that what really matters?
It is.
It seems like the common thread through all of this
Yeah.
is really about aligning our decisions with our values.
I think that's a great point.
Like whether it's prioritizing experiences over material things
Mm-hmm.
or fostering those relationships that are kind of give and take,
Right.
or even just managing our money responsible.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all kind of connected, right?
Absolutely. It's about making choices that reflect what truly matters to us,
Yeah.
both financially and personally.
So it's not just about like the numbers in our bank account,
Right.
but really about the richness of our lives and our relationships.
Exactly. And that brings us to a really important question for you, the listener.
Okay.
How can you make decisions that align with your values and your long-term goals?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's something to think about as you navigate your own financial journey.
That's a powerful question to consider.
Yeah,
And, we've covered so much ground today.
we have.
From like understanding the real impact of our credit scores
Right.
to kind of reevaluating how we're spending our money with inflation and everything.
Yeah,
We even challenged some of those wedding expectations.
we did.
That can sometimes get a little out of hand.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in all of that.
Right, exactly. And we talked about how our friendships can even impact our finances.
That's true.
And how being mindful of that reciprocal effort can lead to like
Mm-hmm.
healthier, more fulfilling relationships.
Absolutely.
This deep dive has been packed with insights and hopefully some aha moments for everyone listening out there.
I hope so.
But remember, this is just the beginning,
Yeah.
Keep exploring these topics, do your own research,
Right.
maybe even have conversations with your friends and family about what you've learned.
Yeah, because knowledge is most powerful when it's shared
That's so
and
true.
applied.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, thanks everyone for joining us for this deep dive into personal finance.
Yes, thank you.
Until next time, keep learning,
And keep questioning.
and we'll see you then.